Now, I told y'all that I had a temper, and God has dealt with me since then. When that temper wells up, you keep cranking that doggone jack in the box, baby. If you want it, you're gonna get it. So, at the time, I was standing a couple feet away from my older sister before she said that. And not only did she say that, but she's laughing hysterically in my face after she says it. I will tell a story about how I ended up in the psych ward in another video. So at that time, I had made a lot of progress, and that was nowhere near on my mind. Of course, that's not what we're talking about. I'm talking about not getting kicked out of my apartment, stupid. So, like I said, I was a couple of feet away from her, and when she said that and started laughing, I saw red. Mind you, I'm not proud of this. She was pregnant. I went to grab her, and at some point, my mother scooched her little behind over to the situation and just knew something was going to happen, I guess. And my hands didn't have the opportunity to connect because she blocked it. When she blocked it, I snapped out. Like, I wish I could explain the rage to you all. Like, I mean, if you know, you know. Because if something like happens that like knocks you off kilter, it can kind of make your brain reset. And that's what happened with me. I started thinking more logically. And I was like, I looked at my mother and I was like, oh. I looked down at her stomach and I'm like, oh. But I said, I think it's time for you to go. It is time for you to go. I'm not leaving. I said, if you're not going to leave, then you need to shut up. She said, I'm not going to stop talking. And somebody asked her, why don't you just shut up? Why don't you just stop talking? You've been talking and arguing with everybody in this daggone room, except for my mother's husband. I'm pretty sure if he'd have coughed, she'd have been like, and what you coughing at? So when they asked her that, she said, because I have a mouth. I'm going to talk so long as I have a mouth. I guess it was just never going to stop. It was so annoying. I just cannot express to y'all how annoying it was. She never stopped going. I said, I'm going to need you about. And you know what? You can take whatever gift that you brought for me with you because I don't want it. She like, whatever. And what about other stuff that I gave you? So when I moved into my apartment, she brought a couple things. You know those boxes that you get from Family Dollar with like the shower curtain and the little rings and, you know, the soap dish and the little soap dispenser? That's what she brought me. And I think it's a plunger. I said, you can take all of that up out of there anyway. What was that going to do for me? I was appreciative at the time, but honey, that didn't make me. She like, okay. She goes in my bathroom, takes all of that. Girl, you got to be on some petty time. If you picking up a toilet brush and a plunger, you on something else. So she grabs all her gifts and she takes them to her car. My brother is standing in the doorway. She comes back in. Now, mind you, her kids are still in there. My sister's history with her child's father is extensive. One thing about him, though, is that he sells baby powder, hard baby powder. And we all know from common knowledge that anybody who's handling hard baby powder is either absorbing it through their fingers or baby, they're doing it. They're doing it. So, like I said, I snapped out, but at the same time, I didn't feel the need to hold back. And I did say some hurtful things about my little nieces and nephew. I called them some K babies. Not proud of it. They should never have caught no strays. I admit I was wrong. So she's still digging in on me. When I said the K baby thing, she was like, you should have seen her. Felt like, anyway, I was just shocked that she was shocked that I had any type of comeback at all. Because why do you feel like you could keep on talking about me trying to myself, like making fun of me, laughing in my face? Like, why? But I'm supposed to sit there and be like, well, I did, you know. Anyways, like I said, the babies didn't deserve the stray. My brother walks out to her van with her while she's putting the gifts in and the kids in. And he's like, you need to just leave. Like, he's trying to reason with her. We could see him from out of the glass door, like talking with her. And she's still on 20, not even 10, 20. So she comes back into the house, right? No one can physically remove her. Either we call the police or we just deal with her mouth. Mind you, by then, before things escalated as much as they had, my middle sister started laying out plates for the kids. So my sister like, nah, let my kids eat. Let my kids eat. So the kids is just sitting there eating, listening to their mother go off on everybody in the room, except for my mother's husband. She did say something to him. I just don't remember what it was. She did end up saying something to him, saying like, and you act like the woman you married is good or something like that. And he just looked at her like she was crazy, like, you losing it. So just as things are starting to kind of simmer down, the arguing is not at the highest tempo, I think my mother grew tired of the attention not being on her. So I guess my mother got tired of the attention not being on her. And she stood up, slammed her hands on the wooden table, pushed her chair out all dramatically, stormed out of the room screaming, "You guys always do this sort of thing. You wouldn't do this if you were at your dad's house." All the kids in the room look at each other and go, "What the fuck is you talking about?" She runs in the bathroom and slams the door. Bro, I don't even know how that day ended. I just know I was glad that they was out of my freaking house. Why did you even Never again. I will never host end of the life, end of the world party with y'all ever again, because that's what it felt